Hello and welcome to this training video by Peter Gorman at Living Images. That's www.livingimages.ie. In this video we're going to show you how to create a picture collage or photo collage using Picasa. Picasa is a free piece of software. You can download it from www.picasa.com, and it's photo editing and photo management software. I would highly recommend it. It's very, very easy and intuitive to use. It also has some nice additional features like slideshows and so on, and the one I'm about to talk about, which is collage. So I'm going to create a collage with about 12 photographs, and I'm aiming for a 16-inch by 12-inch collage. Before you create a collage, you should consider what shape it's going to be. Is it going to be square? Is it going to be rectangular? Is it going to be large? Is it going to be small? Often you'll find with electronic collages that with the electronic format people tend to scale the images down a little bit to fit more onto your collage. I wouldn't overdo that because you don't want the photographs to be too small, because then you've no detail left. And similarly, when you're selecting photographs to go into your collage, try to avoid picking photographs where the main subject is quite small in the original photograph, because if that photograph is going to be scaled down further to fit into the overall collage, the detail is going to be even less at that stage. So we're looking here at my Picasa screen. I've got some folders on the left. I've got some albums. An album in Picasa is simply a selection of photographs from other folders. So I've got a collage demo folder which I created for this video, and it's got 16 photographs in it. I know that because it says brackets 16 after it. And here are my 16 photographs. I'm going to pick about 12 of them for my collage. Before I hit the collage button, which is down at the bottom, I've got to select my photographs. So let's select some photographs. And you can select photographs in Picasa by and large using the same selection techniques you use selecting standard files in a Windows system. In other words, if you click one file, you select it. If you then click a second, if you hold down the Shift key and click a second file or image, it selects the first one and the last one and all the ones in between. If I click somewhere outside of that, they're deselected. Let's say I want the first one and the fifth one, but I don't want the ones in between. I can click the first one and I can control click the next one, so that holds the first one and selects the second one without selecting the intervening ones. If I simply click the first one and then click the fifth one, I lose the selection on the first one. But that's standard selection techniques across a lot of Windows programs, and in fact the Windows operating system itself. So there's another way you can do it in Picasa as well. You can select an individual photograph. It appears in the photo tray down here. If I select a second photograph, my first photograph has disappeared from the photo tray. So to keep my first photograph in the photo tray, I click on this little green button to hold it there. I can then click a second one and hold it there, and so on. You can go through them individually like that, or you can use the techniques I showed you earlier. So let's say I want the next 4 photographs in the collage. I click the first one of the 4 and shift click the last one of the 4, and you can see that the 2 intervening ones are selected. They all appear in my picture tray down here, but I still have to hit the hold items button to keep them in the tray. I've now got 6 selected. I need to pick 6 more. We'll just very quickly pick maybe this one. I'm going to control click a few individual ones here. So control clicking this one keeps this one, adds this one. That's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I've now got 12 photographs in my tray. Just again, I need to hold them. 12 photographs in the tray for my collage, and I click on the collage button down here across the bottom, and it brings up the collage window with the settings. So straight away put them into a sort of a collage, fairly regular grid type array, which wouldn't be my favorite, although some people like it. But before we do anything further, let's look at the layout or the format here. There's a drop down menu here with format, and it's got all these different shapes in it. Don't think of these as absolute sizes. For example, 10 by 15, don't think of that as 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters or 10 inches by 15 inches. Think of it as a ratio. It's an overall size where the long side is 1.5 times the short side. Similarly, if I pick 4 by 3, that's a slightly different shaped rectangle where the long side is not just as long. It's now only 1.3 times the short side. So if you've got a target size in mind, you need to pick a corresponding ratio from the page format. So what do I mean by that? Well, for example, my target size is 16 inch by 12 inch. 16 inches, the long side is 1.3 times the short side. So I need the 4 by 3 ratio, because in the 4 by 3 ratio, the long side is 1.3 times the short side. So work out your ratio and then pick it from the options here. And there's a whole series of ratios here. If you can't find the ratio you're looking for, you can actually create a custom ratio and you type in your own dimensions, but I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go for the standard 4:3. I can go for a landscape orientation or a portrait. This is a regular mosaic. You can add a grid in here of varying thickness, and you can also add, I like to add drop shadows just to give it a more three-dimensional effect. Having done that, I can now shuffle the pictures to reorganize them, and you get different pictures in different positions. It's the same 12 pictures, but it's put different ones in different positions. There's another one with frame mosaic where it puts one picture, a dominant picture in the center. Again, you can shuffle the pictures around that. I prefer that to the previous one. My preferred one is the picture pile, where the pictures are literally scattered in a pile, and it looks a bit more like the traditional pin board that used to be used with printed photographs. Now I can scramble the collage to create a different pile shape, if you like, or if I like the shape, say I like that shape generally or format, I can then shuffle the pictures within that format so that it keeps the overall format but changes the positions of the pictures. But I find no matter how many times I do this, I have to go in and hand edit it anyway. So let's stick with this one and do a little bit of hand editing. So to hand edit, I can select a picture and move it to any position I like. So let's move this one up to the top right. What I can also do is I can scale the picture. So when I click on a picture, you see this circle appearing, and there's a control dial here. With the control dial, I can either rotate the picture left or right, and I can also scale it. So you move it in or out to make it larger, in to make it smaller. Can reposition it. I'm just going to twist it a little bit to make it look a little bit more haphazard, like a conventional pin board effect. I might make this one a little bit smaller, stick it up there, this one here. I'm not going to go for perfection here for the sake of the length of time it would take to do the video. But within about 10 minutes you can get quite nice effects. I like that one. I might make it fairly dominant in the center. Say this one here, for example, say I want it on top of the top picture instead of behind it. What I do then is I select it, I right click on it, and I say bring to the top. Now it's on top of both photographs. If I want this one on top of that one, I do the same, bring to the top. So you right click your mouse to do that. So I'm happy with that left side of the collage. Let's do a little bit of work here on the right. We'll fit that one in there. We'll take this one here. I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. We've got that there. I've got maybe too many photographs in this. I'm actually going to get rid of this one. So I right click on it and I remove, and I'll get rid of this one. No, in fact I will keep this one and I'll get rid of this one, and I'm going to make this one significantly larger to kind of fill this gap here. I might twist that the other way just to offset it a little bit. Something like that. I would spend a little bit more time on the final layout to get something I'm happy with. But let's stick with that for today for the purposes of the video. Let's go back briefly to settings and look at one other thing, the background. You can choose an image. So if you click on use image, it will pick one of the images as a background, and you can pick a different one if you like. I prefer to use a solid color. I generally find that white works, it's quite neutral, works with most photographs. It depends on the content. You can if I click on that, you can see you can move your slider along here to see lots of different there's a light beige, for example, might work quite well, but I tend to go for white. Black can be quite dramatic, again works with some photograph types, not with others. That's my picture collage. As I said, without the shadows it looks a little bit flat, with the shadows looks a little bit better. So the collage is created. I would spend time getting a better layout than that, but I'm going to leave it at that for time reasons. Once I'm happy with it, I click on the create collage button and it actually creates a composite image with the layout I've chosen there. And the shape of that image, the overall size is not important, it's the shape that's important. And the shape is 4:3. In other words, the long side is 1 1/3 times the short side. So if I printed that on 8" by 6" paper, it'll come out perfectly. If I print it on 16 by 12", it'll come out perfectly, because and similarly, if I take another example, 12" by 9". And all of those sizes, the long side is 1 1/3 times the small side. Now you can also see a little window down here which shows you the percentage progress in creating the collage. When it reaches 100%, it still takes a few seconds more. It has to save the file and so on. How long it takes depends on how fast your PC is. Once it is created, to locate the file on disk, you can right click on it. You can do this with any photograph in Picasa. If you right click on it, you get a drop down menu. So I'm going to right click on it, right click and locate on disk. this. We've got Collage Demo highlighted there. It's 2.7, almost 2.8 megabytes in size. It's 5120 pixels, about 3840, which is reasonable resolution for a 16-inch by 12-inch collage. That's it. Collage is finished. You can print it then, frame it, block mount it if you're interested in block mounting. Want to know what it is, or you know what it is and you want to avail of the service, we offer a block mounting service. Just visit www.livingimages.ie and click on the block mounting tab. Hope you found the video useful, and why not visit our site again occasionally to see if there's any other ones of interest to you there. You can check out our training courses as well while you're visiting, and if you like the video you can always put a link to it from your own website or blog. That's it for now, and hope you tune in again soon.